The room smelled of disinfectant and steel, the kind of place where dignity quietly evaporated. What began as a routine corporate visit had turned into a moment that would shatter reputations, expose hidden wounds, and force two broken men to confront the worst and best parts of themselves. One of them was a powerful CEO who had never begged for anything in his life. The other was a cold, disciplined single father, whose heart had been locked away for years. In that moment, power meant nothing, wealth meant nothing, and pride was about to be stripped away in the most painful way possible. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that no one should be judged by a single moment, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that need them most. The CEO's name was Nathaniel Brooks, a man whose signature alone could move millions of dollars and thousands of lives. He was known across the United States as a ruthless visionary, the kind of leader who slept 4 hours a night and demanded perfection from everyone, including himself. His tailored suits and calm authority hid a childhood shaped by poverty, shame, and constant fear. Nathaniel had spent his life building armor so thick that no one ever saw the boy who once slept hungry and invisible. Now, standing under harsh fluorescent lights, that armor was cracking. The single father was Marcus Hale, head of private security at a high-profile biomedical facility in Colorado. Once a decorated law enforcement officer, Marcus had lost his wife in a highway accident 6 years earlier, leaving him alone to raise his young son, Caleb. Grief hardened him. Responsibility sharpened him. Love, for him, became something quiet and private, reserved only for bedtime stories and packed lunches. At work, Marcus was known as cold, unyielding, and impossible to sway. Rules were rules, and exceptions were how disasters happened. Nathaniel had come to the facility to finalize a partnership that could revolutionize emergency medicine. The building was secure for a reason. Sensitive research, classified patents, and government oversight demanded strict protocols. When a silent alarm triggered during the visit, everything changed. A prototype chip went missing from a sealed lab, and every person inside the building became a suspect, including the CEO himself. Cameras showed nothing conclusive. Timelines overlapped, pressure mounted. Marcus followed protocol without hesitation. Everyone would undergo a full security screening. For most, it was uncomfortable but manageable. When it came to Nathaniel, the reality hit harder. The scan required removal of all outer garments to rule out concealed materials. For Nathaniel, this was not just embarrassment, it was terror rooted in memory. As a teenager, he had been publicly humiliated during a school incident, forced to stand exposed while authority figures looked on without mercy. That moment had carved a scar so deep he built his entire identity to ensure he would never feel powerless again. Now, decades later, power abandoned him. Nathaniel's composure crumbled. His breathing turned shallow. His hands trembled as he pleaded for another way, for privacy, for dignity. But Marcus saw only risk. He saw a building on lockdown, careers on the line, and a son who depended on him to never make a careless mistake. Sympathy in his mind was a luxury he could not afford. The screening proceeded in a private room, but privacy did little to soothe humiliation. Nathaniel's sense of self unraveled. Each second felt like punishment for a crime he did not commit. Meanwhile, Marcus stood rigid, eyes forward, jaw clenched, enforcing procedure like a machine. Yet something subtle shifted. In Nathaniel's visible panic, Marcus recognized something familiar, not weakness, but fear. The same fear he had seen in the mirror after his wife's funeral, when the world felt unsafe and unforgiving. The scan revealed nothing, no chip, no wrongdoing. Moments later, another guard reported the truth. The prototype had never been stolen. A mislabeled container and a clerical error had triggered the alarm. The crisis evaporated as quickly as it had formed, leaving behind only silence and damage that could not be undone. Nathaniel dressed slowly, each movement heavy with shame. Apologies flooded the room from supervisors and executives, but they felt hollow. The harm had already landed. Marcus dismissed the room and stood alone with the man he had just stripped of dignity in the name of duty. For the first time in years, Marcus hesitated. He saw not a CEO, but a human being brought to his knees by fear. Later that evening, Nathaniel sat alone in his hotel room, staring out at the city lights. He considered canceling the partnership, walking away, retreating back into control where no one could touch him. But something unexpected happened instead. He thought about Marcus's face, not the coldness, but the flicker of conflict he had seen at the end. It told him this wasn't cruelty. It was survival. The next day, Nathaniel requested a private meeting with Marcus, not as a superior, not as a victim, but as a man seeking understanding. In a quiet office overlooking the mountains, Nathaniel shared his past, not in dramatic confession but in raw truth. He spoke of humiliation, of how it shaped every decision he made, of how yesterday reopened a wound he thought had healed. Marcus listened in silence, his defenses slowly lowering. When Marcus spoke, his words were few but heavy. He talked about his wife, about raising a son alone, about the fear of making one wrong call that could cost him everything. He admitted that following the rules was the only way he knew how to keep chaos away. For the first time, both men saw each other clearly. Nathaniel didn't seek revenge. Instead, he made a decision that surprised everyone. He moved forward with the partnership and added a new condition. His company would fund trauma-informed training for security teams across the facility and beyond, ensuring that safety never came at the cost of humanity. Marcus was asked to help design the program. At first, he resisted. Then he accepted, realizing that protecting people meant more than enforcing rules. Months passed. The program launched nationwide. Marcus became a leader not just in security but in compassionate protocol. At home, his son noticed the change. Marcus smiled more. He listened more. The walls around his heart softened. Nathaniel, too, changed. He began mentoring young leaders, speaking openly about vulnerability and respect. The moment that once felt like destruction became the foundation for something better. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that even the strongest people carry invisible wounds, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps spread stories that heal. Before this video ends, we have a special request. Please comment below with one word that describes how this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know. In the end, it wasn't about a CEO or a security officer. It was about two fathers, in different ways, learning that strength without compassion is empty, and rules without empathy can break what they're meant to protect. Sometimes the most powerful transformations begin in the most humiliating moments, and the coldest hearts are only waiting for a reason to feel again.